This week we're preparing for one of the biggest launches of the year. No, it's not GTA 6. Scott is about to welcome baby number 2 into the world, so before he disappears into a haze of nappies, sleepless nights and questionable decisions, we're going to be sitting down for one final check-in. Has he been secretly stockpiling games? What does his gaming survival plan actually look like? And what lessons did he learn from baby number 1? We'll also be checking in on this month's Pixel Replay game, Tetris Effect, and revealing July's community replay selection. All this and more on this week's Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I'm your host Liam Kirk-Kelvin, and today I'm joined for the final time for now, the bearded one, the soon-to-be father of 2, Scott, the OG tastemaker Curry. How are we, Scott?
I want to paint a facade for everyone, but I just can't, Liam. You know, I want to keep kayfabe on this show. Yeah. But I don't know if I can. This might be the cage match of doom where everyone hugs in the middle of the ring, or Brett screws Brett. This might be this for Pixel Parents, because this is fucking disgusting, Liam. It's just I can't not comment on it. 2 weeks in a row, and weeks if you believe me, but 2 weeks in a row we were talking about heat at the beginning of this show. Honestly, if I didn't check regularly, I think my balls had become glue, just fucking gluing my arse cheeks together, because it's fucking horrendous, man. I just can't take this stupid heat.
If you want good news, by the time this episode goes live, it'll be 13 more Fridays, I think, until autumn officially begins, so the countdown is officially on. But by that, how are you doing? Because let me think, we're doing this in advance naturally, because we've got one more week of Scott Curry goodness, and there is a chance that he could have welcomed baby number 2 into the world by the point this show goes live. Who knows? My dates are terrible, but
I would argue probably it will be that,
yeah,
officially due the 7th, but if this child is not here by at least the 29th, 30th, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking xenomorph popping out my waist chest at the moment, man. Just about to fucking bust out the thing. But by the time you all listen to this show, I will be deep, so deep in, fatherhood number 2.
Yeah,
I don't know how to describe that.
All the exciting stuff about it, and it's going to be, that's the focus this week. And I mentioned questionable life choices, and that's really going to be about the gaming side of things. I want to know what questionable stuff you've did in the anticipation of this moment, and maybe some things like, the expectations, all the rest of it. We're going to dig into that, but it's going to be a lovely little send off for you here, Scott. You worry about that. But by that,
we've got cakes. And we've got those shitey wee cakes you get in like the supermarkets that just have like a dot of icing on top. Those shitey wee fairy cakes that you'd always get.
Aye.
And somebody will bring fucking, own brand mini cheddars or something like that.
Oh yes, of course, mini Leicesters. Can't beat them. I know, but yeah, we've got lots to catch up on, I suppose. But again, we've got some housekeeping at the road. So of course, this is the Pixel Parents podcast, which is a show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I've read the wrong thing. I'm absolutely out of whack in this heat here, by the way. But it's a weekly show by parents discussing all things gaming, whilst we're raising little ones. You can get new episodes every Friday on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so please subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not already there and miss our tired faces. Get us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social or email pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And you can also support the show for free at patreon.com/pixelparents. That'll cost you £0. You get lots of wee bonuses. And if you can, drop a 5-star review, share the podcast online with your friends. Really does help us out. And of course, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. Wee bit of cowboy coming out there, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly. As we mentioned, Scott, by the time this is live, let's just assume that you will be a dad of 2, right? And I want to just know, how are you feeling, but also what is the last game that you think you'll be playing?
God, I'll be playing games up until that child is out. Hand me the baby, I'll put my Switch down at that moment in time. I mean, I'll probably still be on the tear with Hell As Us, to be honest with you, playing through Twilight Princess on the Steam Deck, and just eyeing up what's next on the list, Liam. It's there, it's there waiting for me, but it's what'd you call it? I think it will be. I think probably Hell As Us will still be. I think that one will die the moment that this baby's born. That one is put out to pasture because not making much progress in a game like that with the limited time that you're going to have, if any time, is going to be its death knell. But aye,
I know it's it could go one or two ways, right? It can either be that or because it is something that's just so what, I don't really know. I can't see an end in sight, and I'm cool with that. And maybe just I just fancy a wee wander in this hellscape. It could be one of many things, but yeah, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. I'm thinking, in terms of what we're going to be playing and stuff like that, because we covered a lot in the last episode. I will probably just have rounded off Grand Theft Auto 5. I've been making my way through that. Got up to the last heist because I picked up where I'd left off.
Quickly, have you been playing this thing?
I picked up about halfway through it, to be fair, which has been great, really great. But I keep on going back to Balatro. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and it's got its hooks in me again, man. There's still a few decks and challenges I've not done in that game, despite the dozens of hours that went into it. What a game, man. That could be something perfect. Do you have that on your phone?
Yes.
It's it's a toilet destroyer. Put it that way.
I mean, that's what they call me. It's I mean, I'll be picking that up here and there. Just daft wee things like that, I think will make the difference over time. Just having that touch point towards things like Balatro or Vampire Crawls on the Switch too is definitely why it's definitely sort of on the list. It's probably why I haven't played as much Vampire Crawlers as I'd want to, because it's kind of been earmarked for that purpose. But it's you alluded to it in the intro, and there's a list of games there that all going well is the plan of attack, but I expect that all just to fucking die in its ass.
Of course, I mean, it's always best laid plans. I mean, if you kind of go back to the first time, and it's almost like, right, you'll be thinking I'm going to get through X, Y, Z. I remember when my first was born, I overbought games so in the same day. It all came out the same day. Spoke about it in the show. Super Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Wolfenstein 2. Absolutely kidding myself on, man. Those things stayed in the rotation for maybe about a year. You know what I mean? It was absolutely brutal. But Super Mario Odyssey ended up being the saving grace, and then obviously Assassin's Creed Origins as well.
It's kind of the perfect game for that though, Super Mario Odyssey. You go jump in, grab a few moons. Or was it just Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Or was it Super Mario Odyssey?
Mario Odyssey and Origins.
See, I'm getting the two of them mixed up now, Too many Odysseys. Is that the Christopher Nolan movie you were playing, Liam? Is that the game, the movie? Fuck, it'd be the longest game on earth. It's the perfect kind of game for that, though. Just kind of dip in, dip out, grab a couple of moons and up the road. A game like Wolfenstein, when you come up to these moments where your time is limited, having games where you can the Switch is perfect for it because you turn it off and you're back where you were. It's kind of like the quick resume feature on the Xbox. You turn that back on again and you're back where you were initially. With the Switch, it's fine because it just sort of pauses it for you. But with Mario, it's you jump in, grab him and leave, and you feel like you've done something. You still had that touch point. You still had something there to do, and you've made progress. That's going to be the problem that I think I'm going to face because I don't cope well when I don't make progress in games. It's like playing a fighting game one night and you don't win a match. This is fucking pish. I'm never playing this again. And if you don't do anything in a game, you almost feel like you've wasted time. I could have slept instead, but
I suppose it's you need that carrot, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just to keep you pushing along.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's an interesting now that we can look back on it with everything. We'll get into the main topic, but it's kind of going to morph into one, I suppose, this week. But it is like it's very interesting because if I just think back, so let's just kind of focus on the before times before we had kids, even, and it's just like, it's obviously you've mentioned it, we've both mentioned it in the show. Like this is our thing. Other people
Mm-hmm.
might have, golf season tickets, all the rest. So this is our curse, but you do kind of think, what's it going to look like? You didn't really go in with any like expectations. I was always like, I expect the unexpected. That was always my
Yeah.
expectation, and it delivered. That's for damn sure. But yeah, it's funny. Like, how do you feel like you've changed? Though I would say since then.
Since before
Yeah,
having the
the
burn,
before times.
fuck, it feels like it was never there now, Liam. Like,
Yeah,
it feels like there was no time before being a parent. Now that I am a parent,
yeah,
I kind of got a taste for it with the little one being away on holiday with the in-laws. It was kind of reverting back to that point, and waking up anytime I want. When the sun rises, I'm not waking up now. I can wake up whenever I want.
excellent.
School runs don't exist anymore. I can stay up till 2, 3 in the morning playing games, and I did
Yep.
maybe one night, but then the other nights I was like, no, I'm too tired. I need to get a good night's sleep. Um, I just can't believe you kind of take it for granted that time that you had. Like if I had that time back now, I would make the most of it at every single given opportunity. Like I'd
Yeah,
be plowing through games like there's no fucking tomorrow. Um, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Do you know? Like you would
yeah,
never trade that. It's the strangest thing. You'd never go back to it. But it's you just can't really believe how much time you had. Like there's no rush after dinner to kind of get showers or baths and then bedtime in. You're not worried about anyone waking up through the night.
yeah,
You're not having to worry about getting up early the next morning, kind of doing the school run or making breakfast for everyone. It's just very much a case of you just live and that's it. Maybe the most stressful part of your day, the most stressful part of your day is taking the dog out for a walk, and that is it.
Mm,
Going shopping. Whereas now you have to manage that with a child, and it's just like that they fit in. I think the first child you change your routine to meet them.
yep,
With the second one, they just have to fit into the routine that you already have.
yeah.
It's bizarre. That's what everyone tells us, is that you'll find that second one will just slot in the way that everything's moving along already.
It's true. It's true. I think the same advice always still applies. It's just expect the unexpected. Like, and it's that whole you can go down the cheese and it's an adventure and all that. But I think we tell ourselves that to keep ourselves sane. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, I can't think about the before times because even like we would routinely stay up. Like 1 o'clock was always like the
The early.
pretty average night. You know what I mean? 1 o'clock, even playing solo or playing the multiplayer. And now it's kind of like if I rarely do it, it's like fuck it, I'm sabotaging myself for tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be worth it. And you know, it's a novelty.
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate. The novelty of it is definitely there, which we didn't have before because you could just suit your sailing, quite rightfully so. You know what I mean? And I think we're making a very good argument to not have kids in the show if you're a gamer, I suppose. But it is worth it because there's so many wee interesting creases in there in terms of what's to come down the line. And the biggest one is the fact that we have a player 2 there. You're
Yeah.
adding a player 3, I suppose, this time. But that's the big difference, you know what I mean? Which is like, if the kids are into it, it's a way to kind of do something recreationally together
Yeah.
that isn't just so like isolating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, 1,000%. It's just going to be interesting, Like my daughter has interest in games, and I don't know how long that'll last for. Like
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully it'll last for a bit longer, but I'm not expecting it. There's a dog barking outside, Liam.
Nice.
I give you PTSD.
Agrees with you.
It's it's very much a case of how long does that last, but then you get to sort of introduce that to the second one as well. Like,
Yeah.
is he going to enjoy it the same way? Is he going to be completely polar opposite to what we already have as well? Like it's just who the fuck knows? You can never tell. Like
No.
it's this all this chat with like pure. oh, moving about in the belly a bit much. Maybe he's going to be a bit of an excited wee guy. It's like, what the
Just don't
fuck?
know, do
He's
you?
just in a fucking, he's in a big sack. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be moving about in a sack loads because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing in here?
I know.
It's just very much a case of, you can't predict that. Like, I couldn't have predicted that, me and my daughter would have finished Marvel Cosmic Allies. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no chance I would have ever said that would have been the first game that we complete together. And now we have this routine where we do take a bit of time where we come up and play like 10, 15 minutes of Tomodachi Life every other day just to
yeah,
check in on the villagers and see what's happening. And that's nice, like that is my time that I have to have
yeah.
with her. Like it's nice to have those moments, and I think that those will become more important as time goes on. Like I think that's going to be the more difficult part of it. Is obviously you're introducing a new wee fella into the clan, but
Yeah.
it doesn't change the fact that you already have the child there. You know what I mean? You've already got one there, so it's like, how do you continue being there for them when you've got the other one there as well? It's like, oh, I'm
That
balancing
that
I'm
is
balancing 400 plates on my fucking Bobby. Never mind
yeah.
my heat.
I mean, that is the big difference, this time round. But I mean, I suppose I'll get into that later. But what I would say is you have all the XP,
Yeah,
and that's it. The difference is you're approaching it now, not like the first time round, where it's like what you're not figuring out as you go. You're just getting to know them, and that's actually it's actually brilliant about the second one. And I remember like you probably would have had it or the patter, and it's like, oh, and it's like, oh, double the trouble and all that, and it's like they, you do the exact same thing. They're loved, they're looked after, and it kind of they just go along. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is sound, right,
yeah,
big man. You into that? I'm into that too. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, like you said, they slot into that routine that you've set up, and that's it because you're already 10 steps ahead of the game. But
yeah,
when you remember what it was like when the wee one first arrives, and you're just kind of like, what do I do? I never get
yeah.
the feeling in the maternity hospital, and
Sure.
it's just like basic thing like, oh, she needs her nappy changed. It's like, oh, aye, cool. And it's just like, but for a split second, you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's my job.
Aye, are
And you
you
know what I
doing it
mean?
then?
Like,
Are you doing it?
I know,
There's nothing quite like it. Like, obviously, we're going to have people who listen to the show who don't have kids, right?
Mhm.
And they can experience that in their own time, but if they want to. But if you've got kids, like nothing really. You don't experience anything quite like that. Like where, 1 second you're standing there still a child, basically in the eyes of the world, still a fucking idiot. And then someone hands you a tiny fucking baby to look after. Like, here's this thing to keep alive. It's like, what? Like,
how?
and you go to all these classes that talk to you about, like, prenatal stuff and how to fucking prepare your vagina to, you know, prepare itself to have the baby. But it's like, nothing prepares you for being a parent. Like there's no class for that. You just fucking do it. Like you read the books, you read all the things, you watch the TikTok videos, you watch the YouTube videos, you watch everything online to basically learn, how do you know when a nappy's too big for a child? Or how do you know when they've pissed without opening the thing up? Or like these are just things that with time you learn. Like it's
Yeah,
mad.
yeah.
Like what do you do when you put, how do you remember how many scoops of milk or how many scoops of powder that you've put in the milk at 4 a.m? Like you've counted three times. It's like
Aye.
maybe I'll just pull this one out, but you don't want to because milk's fucking expensive, Liam. Do you know milk 13 quid now, Liam?
I
13
know, but
fucking
by the
quid.
time this podcast goes live, because AI's fucked that as well.
Rancid. It's just nothing prepares you for it. And
I
you
know.
are standing there. Like me and my wife had been married for 2 years at that point, and it's like, fuck, like what? Like now I've got to go home with this baby and like figure it all out. And you do
Yeah,
because you can't not. Like you, you
100%.
you have to figure it out. Like, and that's that you've spoken about it in XP, we've spoken about it before, is that's where the experience is going to come in spades this time. Like
Oh yeah.
if someone was to hand me a random baby now, I could probably deal with it, like and someone will be handing me a random baby within the next few days, Liam, fucking days.
Indeed.
And if you were to look at my asshole right now, which I wouldn't fucking suggest doing because
Wouldn't advise.
it is fucking, it's like one of those donuts that Homer eats. But I'm making fucking buttons, man. It's just
I
I'm
know.
kind of I'm verging between being the most excited human being on earth to being fucking shiting my pants to going back and up, and it's just like if I'm excited, my wife's nervous. If my wife is nervous, I'm excited. It's just like
Yeah, that roller
oh,
coaster of emotions.
aye, it's incredible. I can't wait. Like, I'm fucking buzzing for it to start just now, so we can just get it going, so we can now have the four of us together, and it'll be class.
It will be. You think about it, it's like all Da Plus. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like
All
you
that
kind of
plus.
you get to just kind of go back around, and it does count. I mean, that experience of like daughters like hours old.
Yeah.
And I'm like the midwife's telling you to like nappy and all that, and you're like, wait, do you know come home maze as
Aye,
well?
aye.
don't make me do it. But it's like it is a very much a chuck to the deep end. And you mentioned that it's true. Like we will have listeners in that who don't have kids and won't want them probably after everything we've talked about here. But it's the thing I can closely resemble it to, and I do mean that it's like it's like 1% like the experience as if you had a new puppy. And
Yeah.
they've got something that's utterly dependent on you, and the early nights and the shitting and the peeing and all the rest of it. But the thing is, though, they'll go through that at 7 times the pace
Aye.
than what a baby would. But a baby's just a different ball game, and it's just because it's just so much things, and yeah, you then get back on like once you're out that mode, and it's like you're settled. Like you mentioned, that roller coaster of emotion. It's like cool. It's just the excitement. You're just one note. And that's good because everything's new and it's lovely, and you're noticing all the wee different things every single day that they're doing. And then the door opens up, and it's like, right, well, there's a small, and I can't stress it enough, there is a small opportunity and window for you to just start folding in your everyday life back into things, and it goes quicker, certainly because of that experience, but it is like I wouldn't take in a wee bit of the main topic here and try to clumsily do it, but it is just that question of, what would you be looking to play? And that probably is my clumsy segue into the main topic, but before I do, Scott, indulge me. I just want to say before we do, if you enjoyed the show and you want to support us, you can. It won't cost you a penny. So just go to your free Patreon community. Just visit patreon.com/Pixel Parents for every show. Get chats, bonus shows, including side quests with Scott, free all the time. And please, if you can, subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/@Pixel Parents Podcast. But alas, you don't turn this thing off, Scott. I'm like The Rock. The main topic this week, aptly titled The Paternity Backlog, Scott's Final Save Point. And it's fun because I know Scott hasn't got this podcast doc in front of him just now, so
I don't.
I get
It's really funny.
I have the easy job this week because this is all about Scott. All about Scott. This is a big fucking moment, big life moment. But it's also very apt to this podcast as well. So I get to ask the questions. And we also have a wee discussion back and forth. But I'm going to start off, Scott, with the backlog confessional here, right? And what we all want to know is, we've spoken about it for weeks and at the start of the show, and we mentioned that wee opportunity, that window slowly creaks open again. But I want to know, first of all, what games have you quietly been stockpiling away there? What's in the contents of that large stack?
Oh, God. Right, where do I start? On the Switch, I think this has been the purpose of not playing like Galaxy 1 and 2 and not playing like Fantasia and Neo Dimension and stuff like that as well, is that I want to play those. So those are on the list. Zelda, I think I'm going to become a total fucking Zelda freak over the next few months, until the lead up of Ocarina of Time. If I don't come out of this pregnancy with a Triforce attached to me at some point, then I'll have done something wrong. With the Steam Deck, it's very much a case of I've got the Dusk mod for Twilight Princess on there. I'll continue playing that. I've also got Final Fantasy 13 on there. Mm-hmm. That's one that it's linear as fuck, so you can jump in, jump out as much as you want. There's loads of save points everywhere, so even if I do get waylaid in any way, shape or form, that'll be fine. I think that's going to be like my night feed game. Is going to be this. On the PlayStation, it's quite limited. I think most of the games that I've got that I want to play are on the handhelds, and that's something I never had before for this. I had I had the Switch, but it was never. I never really viewed it like that. It was never a replacement for what we had now. Whereas the Switch Switch 2 is a competent fucking machine that can actually play these games. The Steam
Yeah.
Deck is as well. So I think the majority of the time is going to be spent with those. But then again, I still got a fucking shite ton of games on the PlayStation and stuff to play as well. I still want to do the Rebirth run. I think
Yes.
that the Platinum run for Rebirth is probably going to start taking shape around the time where the baby starts sleeping a wee bit more. We're obviously going to try and be a bit more financial responsible with that. So that seems like a really fucking good decision to make around about July. And this is all kind of with the notion, because these are big games, and this isn't even accounting for things like Xenoblade Chronicles 1, Donkey Kong 64. I still want to play that on Switch Online. There's a ton of shit on there that I want to play, so that's not even accounting for those. I'm still going to be playing Tomodachi Life with the wee ones, so she'll still fucking drag me through that here and there. We'll still be making progress on that. I'm probably going to try and buy a few things to play with her as well, so side by side. Maybe looking at games like, is it Orbitals or something like that? Maybe looking at something there. I don't think I will, but just in talking about it, it's something that I'm maybe a bit more interested in September. So, I mean, those are games that at the moment are on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be a Steam sale next week, and that's what happens. But it's basically, this is the whole mantra for the gaming industry was survive till 25.
Yeah.
Like for Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out, and look at us now,
Still surviving.
Just about. Was it Gloria Gaynor? I Will Survive. But my mantra for this year is just get to Onimusha. Get to Onimusha and everything's fine. I don't want to look at any new games until Onimusha comes out. And then when that comes out, that'll be the first purchase that I'll make for me at that time. For my birthday, then it's probably going to be something around that time as well. Maybe get Fire Emblem for my birthday, because there's no chance, fucking no chance in hell, I'm starting that straight away. It's a stupid even thought to have. So that'll be one that I'll probably play up in the lead up to Grand Theft Auto, and then that. I'm kind of breaking it up into chunky games at points. But yeah, I've got a stockpile crazy of games, physical and digital, that are just sat waiting to go. It's actual rancid.
It's exciting though, because it's almost, I think of that almost like when you're going on holiday or something like that, and it's like, I'm going to take your collection with me just in case the mood takes me. I think you've covered a lot of bases. I think the hard question is like, what one out of all of them are you most excited to finally tackle, Scott?
If I'm being honest with you, it's probably Final Fantasy 13. If I'm being truthfully honest with you, I've been dying to replay that game, honestly, for about the past 10, 15 years, quite easily, for as long as I've could fucking remember. I remember finishing it, when it came out, and being like, oh well, that was okay.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've just not stopped thinking about Snowvilliers and Vanille and Fang and Lightning and fucking, what's his name? Oh, a guy with the afro with the chocobo in his hair. Saz, I think it is. Final Fantasy 14's fucking, the Final Fantasy 13's fucking class. Excellent game. And it's one that I'm fucking dying to get back to. So I'll be doing that. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of emulation in there, Liam. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I was watching a video about Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. So that somehow landed. That landed on my GameCube emulator. There was another one as well. Allegedly. There was another two-parter too. But I can't remember what that was. But there was something else for the GameCube that popped up.
It's a belter. I mean, it's quite... It divides opinion, but soon you see if you look at it, it's like, is it the best way to kind of play it? If you're interested in modernisation, then yes, but obviously I would implore people to play the original over it. Scott, on this backlog confessional pack, so I've brought this out in wee chunks, you see, right? And
Okay.
it's got a flow, but what game out of all that then do you think you're kidding yourself most about? You're having a laugh, because there's a lot there, and big booty games, so...
I think there's probably two, Liam. I think you probably know the answers to both of them as well. In my heart of hearts, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth ever going to happen? Maybe not. I think there's a lot that I need to do there. In Xenoblade Chronicles, I got the definitive edition, I got the update, and I'm very much of the opinion that that game will be good eventually, but it's just trying to get to that point where it is good. And I still can't bring myself to play it. Even when I am playing it, I'm just like, oh, I could be playing something else. So if it's hitting me like that now, there's no chance. There's no chance, especially with that limited time. It's just, games have to be fucking bagging my arse straight away before I'm fucking, giving up, falling asleep.
That is very true. I mean, it's important to kind of do that as well, which leads me to the next part, which is the expectations versus reality, Scott. Because, this is, the paternity backlog will be real, but I mean, we kind of touched on it, but what are your expectations? And I know there won't be any, but really it's like, what are your loose expectations of what do you think gaming will look like in the weeks ahead? Just that. It's almost like coming out of hibernation, like, what was that?
Do you know, I wish we had this podcast 6 years ago to ask me this same question before my first was born, because I think that I'd have been like, fucking no bother. Fucking way no sleep, I'll just stay up, play a few games, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine. No True fucking story. Bother at all. We all have the same thoughts. I'm sure new parents will admit to the same thing. You're apprehensive, but you're like, well, fucking how much can they change it? And they do. What is it, that fucking like McCarthy thing? It's like that, like, oh, you can't change that. It can't get bad. It can't get worse. So it can. It's it will. It's I wish someone would have asked me and recorded me answering that question in 2020. But to be honest with you, it's because we're so nailed on this routine now. I'm not going to be going to my bed at fucking 8:30 in there at night. I mean, it's not going to happen. With the best of intentions, it's just not going to happen. It depends on how feeds and all that work, and how sleeps and all that work. If I'm working the next day, or if I'm not working the next day, or blah blah blah. I'd like to hope that despite everything, I will still be able to sneak in maybe an hour here or there. It doesn't have to be sat in front of the PlayStation. I'm not even talking about, a big hour. This might just be the hour before my daughter goes to bed, where we can sit down and play something together. Or there's an hour through the day where I'm maybe lying down on the couch with him, and I've got the Switch in hand where he's asleep or something, and I'm doing it that way. Like that is that's what we all fucking think. I remember you telling me there was a way that you could hold your daughter where you were playing stuff, like standing at a door, like just like holding her like that. So you come up with ways to fucking finagle it, but it's is there going to be any extracurricular gaming without the child there? I hope so, but
I mean, it's like for me, it's the mental reset. It's with my daughter. I was always quite apprehensive because I felt like I was almost like I can't do anything that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be other parents that feel that way, or maybe I'm just a weirdo. But I felt like I must be on standby all the time. And that was probably my response to being a dad for the first time, like navigating this, oh shit, what do I do? And obviously hindsight, it's like that. I think that was definitely the case. And I probably did have more opportunity than I thought with my first, but I didn't want to. And I remember it was my wife saying, like, why didn't you play something? And I was like, just like, right, okay. And I probably played like 20 minutes of Wolfenstein and turned it off because I was like getting quite anxious, almost like, no, I'm too relaxed. And that was the thing. Like, I was honestly like
coiled spring.
Coiled spring. Yeah, I was like a coiled spring. And obviously, you fast forward and you mentioned that. I distinctly remember that memory, actually, like, rocking her in the pram, because at the time I had to like help her go to sleep that way. And, eventually it just becomes part of the thing. I never did the whole like kid falling asleep on me playing games, because whenever I had my downtime at first, and I think again, everybody's different. But for me, it was like I needed my sleep. Like I was like prioritizing that above all else because I had to get, you mentioned work and all that rears its head. I didn't have long paternities for either of them. 2 weeks with my first, 8 days with my second because he was
8
born in lockdown.
days?
8 days, Scott. 8 days. But it was
That's
working from
fucking
home.
outrageous, Liam.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
fucking
but
do you work in America? You know what I mean? Fucking
I
hell.
know. It was a different time. Obviously, the world was ending, and it was unfortunately one of those ones where the business was just going to be sold. I'm okay to talk about it because I'm not naming the business, but the business was going to be sold. But it was very much like, right, who's proven themselves most to not be made redundant? That was basically it. And at the time in COVID, you're like, fuck, he was born in the May, so 2 months into lockdown. And I was very much like, shit, man, we really need to, I need to turn up here. And I was just coaxed into doing like the 8 days instead of the 10. You know, I was like, can they give me that extra 2 days? But my wife, obviously, she had the C-section for that one and the recovery and that, 2 kids, it was rough. But luckily I was at home, so I could still like dive away and do what I needed to do. But I found that I would, because in the maelstrom of all that, I found that the cheat code, it was very different for me because my first was younger. She was like 2.5 and she still enjoyed a nap time. And that would then, over the months go by, and that would be like, right, the wee man's asleep and my wife and my daughter would go for a wee sleep. And it's like, right, okay, I've got a little, some days it'd have like a 2 hour nap and it was glorious, man. It's like, that's what I found I was picking it up. But then, like you said, the routine's there. So everybody has the same bedtime.
Yeah.
And you find the pockets of time. I found it came a lot quicker the second time around, but it's child dependent. You know what I mean? Some people, it's literally day one, man. Like they're just like, it's been chilling, it's cool, and you've got the Switch and all that. The handheld gaming options are so much more.
That's the difference. That's the difference this time around, and it's probably just not taking advantage of them back then. It's just, it feels like it's a lot more like feasible with the handheld gaming landscape to sort of amalgamate that with the life that's going to be coming. But I didn't realize it was so short. You're fucking paternity. That was wild, Liam. I think I've got.
Yeah.
I had about 8 weeks when my first. I was off for ages. I took a few weeks annual leave and I just took holiday the whole time.
Yeah.
I've obviously got 2 jobs, so trying to manage it with this one's a bit of a fucking nightmare. But it's
that's
4
when the law
weeks
comes in.
Well, 4 weeks overall with one job, and then I've got 6 with the other one. I've taken 2 weeks paternity and then 4 weeks annual leave.
Nice.
So I'll be suitably fucking. I'll be making podcasts on my own, Liam. I'll be doing this in my fucking sleep.
Multitasking.
I'll be farting out podcasts left, right, and centre. Don't you worry. I'll actually probably be more. What's it? more fucking useful with the podcast pish, but it's just, that's wild. Couldn't believe that.
That's blowing your mind, isn't it? I think that's all. You know me, like I always tend to wander at the job, and it's like that's always for the case of like what's best and needs must at the end of the day. I will always go to the highest bidder. That's it, and I would look at the benefits after. My last job was great. I had too much benefits. You know what I mean? Flexible working from home. It was literally like you work 35 hours between Monday to Sunday, anytime you want. It was absolutely amazing. But that created bad habits, and hence why I moved on. But it was good for family life. But now I'm in that situation where it's like holidays and all that, like time off. I was saying that to my wife the other day. It's like, do you know what I just want 3 weeks off. Like I cannot remember I've had that length of time. And the closest I'll get, I will take 1 week off in the year, and that's in October, and I'll take another 2 weeks in Christmas. So it's like, it's a long wait. It's a long year. You don't get this complexion otherwise, Scott. But when it comes to the wee one, though, like that's excellent because you've got that 4 weeks, kind of 6 weeks, but it will be the 4 weeks, you know, because that 2 weeks when you get back, you'll get firing up on all pistons, which is great. So you got an excellent run at it, summertime, all the rest of it. I think probably it leads me quite well into the next question. It's like, you know, we are talking about, and this is probably the most niche podcast we will do within our niche. It's a
I'm having a child for content, Liam. Who'd have thought?
That's what they do now. Eh? Well, your life is content. But I think What would you say though? Because there might be people out there, and it's a question for both of us. But what is the biggest misconception about newborn life for gamers?
That it's over.
Yeah.
As I say, we've had lots of guests on the show. Greg Miller. We had Patrick that came on and said the same thing: is that your gaming life doesn't end when you have kids. It just changes. Like it changes in whatever way you want it to. You become more focused on the games that you want to play rather than need to play. Like more selective in those choices. More it becomes more a case of we talk about time and value in terms of what we want from the games that we play,
Yeah.
and at this point, it's probably more relevant than it ever is. If you're playing something, you need to have had that value in the time that you've played it. Not saying you need to finish the game there and then, but you need to have fucking made tangible progress. Otherwise, it feels like you've wasted that time you could have slept. But I think it's just that's probably the big misconception, that you suddenly become fucking dead. You're that meme, the guy just fucking piecing out and disappearing. Like the minute that baby's born, it's like, I'm off, brother. See you later. It's aye.
It's very well put. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, because I think a lot of people resonate with that, and it's very true. That's why it will resonate. I think I will go back to what I had mentioned previously, is that the misconception I think some others would share is what I talked about, which is that you can't or you shouldn't play games like this. You have to give up that part of yourself. Maybe for many reasons, right? It could be you are like, I'm not at attention, which is stupid on my part, right? B, it could be you shouldn't be playing games. That's for kids, which is a huge misconception. And C, it's like you will get some people that find that video games are a waste of time. It's like we've spoke about it in the show. It can be such a tonic for when you are shattered, battered, and broken, and mentally, just from the mileage that you've put in, and it could be in a day, could be over a week, months, whatever. And it offers that much needed escapism. And if anything, it's actually made me way more appreciative of the video games I played. Just like you said, you get a different value out of it. It does change. And yeah, I hope like anybody that's been with us on this podcast journey for the length of time, they understand that from us. It's just like, we're just trying to keep things real, keep it honest.
I think it's, as you say, we're not doing this for work. So if we were doing this work, I'd maybe finish every single game that I've ever even imagined playing. But nah, it's not going to happen. Like,
no.
I guarantee you, in the months that come when I come back, taking a 6-month sabbatical, so turn of the year, January, the big return happens. I guarantee you I won't have finished anything. It'll just be fucking touch points in games.
We're going to keep this like a wrestling injury. You know what I mean? Like, he's just going to come like running down the Titantron when you least expect it on this show.
I'm going to wear a leather jacket and have one of the biggest pops just come out fucking. Aye. I don't anticipate it's going to be long. Like, maybe a few weeks. I think it's going to be
as long as you need.
Aye, I don't want to deprive the fans of fucking depravity though. They need
He's
nonsense.
A film.
Aye, I'm away to shoot a film. I don't want to fucking ruin it for people, because that's what we're here for.
100%. But I think everybody appreciates as well. It's like, it's as long as you need. I'm not going to do to you what shitty employers did to me.
Well, that's true.
Is it 8 days? You'll
be getting fucking tailed if you tried.
Can imagine.
It's just I've committed to Liam, is that Liam always talks about side quests with Scott and the Patreon promotion. I've not done one of them in fucking months, because do you know the only thing holding me back from doing it, and this is the stupidest thing that anyone's going to ever hear, is that I can't ever remember which number that it is. So like, I've maybe done 3 or 4 of them and I can never remember what it is. So you'll notice that if you look back at the content, it was like Pixel Parents episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then I stopped because I couldn't remember which one it was. It's so stupid, but
that's true, actually. Yeah.
It's one that
you should just put random numbers next to it. That's the bit done.
I just never remember. Chapter 4, I can just never remember which one it is. So it's I'll definitely get back to those, and we can we can have conversations about fucking farts and pissing again, just so we can all enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe record them at like fucking 4 a.m, where you can see the real fucking pain.
Everyone in night vision, or just the glow of a Steam Deck just lighting your face. You know what I mean? Preferably.
Sitting there like Sam Fisher.
I know it's you know, we'll get back to it. I mean, that's the thing. We've said this before. We'll say it again. You know, everything we're talking here that's not the important stuff. This is all the bonus add-ons, and the same goes. You know, like we want to keep this show breezy. We enjoy doing the show. As soon as it feels like work, you don't enjoy doing it, and hence why we sincerely mean it. And I say me and the audience, it's like you take as long as you need. Take as long as we'll be ready when that Titantron. When you need it, it's there. He comes running down like Ultimate Warrior. I was going to say that. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean? That's whenever he needs it. That would be a hilarious interjection, and if you actually did that,
mate, imagine that fucking mid-conversation.
Might just send you links to every show when we record anyway, just to be like, you know, if he feels like it, he can do an Ultimate Warrior. But yeah, I think moving on like to the next little chunk of this, and it's probably the dad advice corner for us to kind of give, and also just chat about dad advice, I suppose, when it comes to this thing that we love called gaming and what we're doing. I suppose I'll kick it off, right? Because it's what my biggest lesson was from child number 2, and I'll just double down on it. It's like, you've got the experience, and that counts. Just like any good video game, you're like, oh, man, all of a sudden I've got that ability. I've unlocked that skill tree. You know what I mean? Nappies, nay bother. Sleep, who needs it? All the rest of it. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, you know, Bane. I was born in darkness whenever you're feeling tired. You know what I mean? So it's like, I do think that because of that, it's incredible how quickly everything falls into place, and you're going to feel like a Jedi Master. You're going to feel like, you know, oh my goodness, like I am the old da. Because you are, and it's like, you know, 1 kid, 2 kids, you're going to go like that at some point. Let's just have 10. This is no bother, you know.
Christ, imagine.
You know what I mean? But then,
I look at people with fucking 3 and 4, and I wonder what's wrong with them. Like, what possesses you to do this? Even just the pregnancy. Like, see, watching my wife go through what she's gone through this last week. I don't know how I can put her through that again. Like,
yeah, that's the other part of it that's not often discussed, I suppose, and not in relation to your wife. I'm talking about just in general.
What you saying about her?
What you saying about my wife?
What you saying about my wife, mate?
I mean,
it's mad. Like,
aye. I suppose,
you know, the weirdest thing about it, Liam, is the life growing inside. Is the fact that you can actively see them move inside. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, pure alien.
And I always wonder what it, obviously you know what it feels like, but I always wonder what it feels like, because as somebody who regularly, you know, takes Gaviscon for the slightest bit of wind, it's like, I don't know how I would cope with that, man. Like, it's incredible. It really is incredible.
I said to her today, so my daughter, they were sitting in the room, and my daughter was like, do you think it would be better if the man had the baby? And my wife turned around to me and said, what do you think? And I was like, I'd fucking love it. I need shite all the time, so it'd be fucking class. Like, I have to hold in shites every day, so it'd be great. She's
Master of pushing things out.
It's like, it's not like holding in a shite, Scott. It's like, I know that, but I do like holding in shites every day, so it's just, I have to do it.
He's not lying, folks. This man, it's like keeping a horse.
Honestly, it is unbelievable.
It's always been this.
I have. It's actually been fucking ridiculous. I don't even know how.
Is a healthy set of bowels on this, man?
Must be a genetic problem. I got it from my dad. But it's with parenthood, with fucking advice, with anything, it's, I want to tell you that, you know, it gets better, and it does. That's the thing. You say to people it gets better, but it doesn't feel like it in that moment. Everything is amplified tenfold when you have a baby. I can't talk about having 2 because I don't have one yet. Or do I? Maybe I'll come back to this. Maybe you'll put a wee side note of me in the corner. A wee circle says Scott is lying at this moment.
That could be arranged.
Everything just gets amplified tenfold, and you know, it depending on how your partner gives birth, if it is naturally, if it's a section, you've got to help them as well, you know. So you're dealing with the recovery from that. You're also dealing with having a baby, having 2 babies, having fucking 4 5, 6 nutcases, but it does get better. Like
it does. You know,
right.
I think,
And then and then you're sat here and you've got a fucking 7-year-old, and it's like, how? Like, how
yeah,
did that fucking happen?
comes at you fast, man. Like
I said,
it's.
sorry, I keep on interrupting you because I'm so
There you go.
fucking
There you
full.
go.
I'm full of vigor. But
Brimming.
I wrote on Blue Sky that in the time that it's taken for me to have, not me, for us to have had our first child to now when we were welcoming our second, we've moved house 3 times, had 2 dogs, and almost 3 Final Fantasy VII remakes have come out in that time. So my daughter was just born before Final Fantasy Remake came out, obviously with Rebirth, and then by the time Revelations comes out, I'll have 2 kids, and I'll have
You
moved
know,
house 3 times and had 2 dogs.
and you know what's mad? This, if you take all that into account, there's still only been one Grand Theft Auto. Mental. I mean, what a
Oh,
passage of time.
God.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely bang on. I think one of the best bits of advice, I'm not sure. I'm just going to give this shout out to my dad. I'm not sure, but I think it probably was him because he hits out with the wisdom. But it is like, you know, just be there for your partner, regardless. Yes. Regardless of whatever stage the kid's at. It's just like, you're a team, just get through it. And even if it is you're cranky, you're tired, or if you want to go play games or, you know, fanny about, whatever it is, just be there. You know what I mean? I think that's the main thing. If you get that priority, you're there for the kids, you're there for your partner, and then after all said and done, you've got a wee pocket of space for you. You know what I mean? But, you know, and then another way of putting that is just, you know, keep an edgy. You know, keep an edgy in yourself, you know what I mean?
And don't be afraid to fucking leave the house. Like, we couldn't do it during COVID, but see the minute restrictions lifted, it was so necessary. I remember walking my daughter for fucking miles in her pram, just to get out of the house, just to give everyone peace. Like, don't be afraid to do it. Just and biggest thing, Liam, it seems like an easy one. Communicating. It's fucking someone in the world at some point said communication is key. And we all looked at it and went, ha, is it fuck, mate? Is it fuck? But it is. It's fuck. Is you fucking kidding me on then? No. But communication is key, you know, to just get through anything at all. But with babies, it's just like it's hard. It's hard on couples. I understand why people do fall out, or people do fucking break up at that point, because it's, as I say, it's mad. What you're going through is full on. Your life is changing fucking dramatically from the way that it previously had done. And that's just such a short period of time that it is, though. Is that, see, if you give it a few months, it's almost back to the same way it was, just with a few minor tweaks in there. It's just, I think that what I want to say is just that it changes, but no for long. And then you're back to the way things were. And then everything's settled all over again.
The change becomes the norm. And, you know, and then it's important as well to look after yourself. You know, I think that's the main thing. I made that mistake with my first. I don't know if I've revealed that in the show, but it's like, when I look back on it, it's like, I think I really did struggle with it, the whole change of identity part. And, you know, it was a lot. I think we all go through it, but I think in hindsight, it's like, I just wasn't myself. Because you'd have seen it, Scott. I mean, I was fucking massive. Like, honestly, I had my own orbit of gravity. You know, COVID was our baby number 2, so munchie boxes are getting delivered at my fucking will. You know, I look back in the pictures and you can see it in the dead of your eyes. It's like, that's not somebody that's got a full grip of themselves there. And, you know, I was quite literally, you know, drowning in my own rolls of fat, you know, just like sinking into myself. And I think that's like, I want to add the adage of like, look after yourself. But Scott Curry is a mental fortress, you see. He's all good, but he knows to look after himself.
I love it when people talk about me like that. My wife says it about me all the time. She never really knows what I'm thinking about, or what's actually happening in my head. It is great.
Nightmare.
That's just it's great. If you could hear it now, Liam, it's just someone screaming at the highest pitch at the fucking for hours on end. It's just me fucking
in an empty stadium with a loud microphone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah. It's just Robbie Williams shitting the bed every
oh dear.
minute.
Oh dear. I suppose I'm going to on that. You know, I'm going to move on to the next part, right? Because there's a few. One last one here, right? Because people know, right? What are the games that got you through the newborn stages? You know what I mean? I just reflect on what are the type of games that are
Type of
going to get you
games?
through. Yeah.
Fuck. I think if you look at the first, Animal Crossing was the biggest one. Animal Crossing and Neo were Neo. That was Neo 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Those were the two that saw me through it. I can remember just picking them up, and it was routine. The platinum grind for Neo 2 was just like routine. If I can make a wee bit of progress here, that's perfect. With
Yeah.
Animal Crossing, it was just make sure everything's all in place. You know, the
Yeah.
villagers are happy, the islanders are all sound. I can maybe fucking catch a few fish before my work, and then everything's all fine with the world, and then I'm cool to go.
Yeah.
With this one, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'll keep you. What I'll do is I'll write a wee list of things that happen on a weekly basis. I'll commit to a little diary of games that I've
Yeah.
been playing, and I'll come back to you on it.
Like a little debrief once he's back. Once he's down the Titantron, he's handed the mic, folks. You want to know the list.
Just drop a pint bomb. Having babies is fucking easy.
Can't picture it. I for me, like, if I'm thinking about the ones that get you through those newborn stages, like, and it's different for each one, but something that was long and meaty. Like, that's where I was always a fan of Assassin's Creed, right? But Assassin's Creed Origins really did, like, do something to my brain chemistry, because I could sit and chip away at it, and I could take it at my own pace. It was open. It was huge. I could explore. I could escape. And that was what led me down the platinum grind. And that just became the tradition since everyone. I would still thoroughly recommend, maybe not to yourself, Scott, but to everybody else, you know, like Assassin's Creed Origins is a fucking incredible newborn stage game. I bet it's just one of those ones that's good to kind of ease yourself back into it, because it's like, right, I'm just going to do a wee side mission. Maybe I'll do a mission the next night. Maybe I'm just going to clear an area, all that type of stuff. And before you know it, like, to do the platinum, it sounds monstrous. You just have to do everything that's on the map. You know what I mean? And it's great. It's the best 80 hours you'll ever spend in your life. But it's and then that leads you into Odyssey and all the rest of that. And I think actually Odyssey was one that I was playing. No, in fact, it would have been Valhalla. No, it was Odyssey. I would have been playing through Odyssey when we were expecting my son, and then Valhalla came at the other end of the year once he was just about 7 months old or something like that. And it was the same thing. Here we go again. Those games have just followed me all the way through my dad journey, but I would totally recommend that. Something that was big and chunky is you're going to need it, because you're like it or lump it, you're going to slow down on your games consumption, and that's why I would recommend it. But it's so much better, because you, instead of taking one bite out of the apple and reaching for another, you're going to be eating that thing down at the core before you move on. And
I'm going to be shitting out pips.
Shitting out pips, that's it.
Or not, and I'll have an apple tree growing my ass by the time I come back.
Exactly. It's a lot of fucking games. But I've got the send off here, Scott, right? So, I mean, fun ones to kind of wrap up the main topic here, which is, what's one gaming prediction that you'd like to make that will happen during your paternity leave from the show?
Fuck. Oh, God. A gaming prediction. Half-Life 3 will release.
I like that. I like that. And it will be £500.
Fucking pish. Fucking shite.
Aye, like the rest. What's one game that'll come for me now? What's one game that Scott will definitely finish on the paternity leave? This is a commitment. We're going to check in with this after.
I will commit to finishing The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. I think that's going to be high up on the list. As I say, I'm going to be fucking pounding Zelda into the ground.
I'm going to take the high road on
don't
that.
Don't even fucking call me on it, Liam. Just pretend I never said it.
And what's one game that Scott Curry won't touch despite his plans to?
Control Resonant. I have been fucking toing and froing on this game for for weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
And then the last few weeks, I've just been like, look, that game can come out and be a 10 out of 10, but at this time, at this fucking pace of games coming out in that period, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
that's got a fucking Christmas present written all over it. You know what I mean? Like that's
100% on sale in January. And I
Aye.
think that's where my head's at. I just don't know how. There's some games you look at, it's like you're like, that's a PS Plus game, that's
Yeah.
a sale game, and I think that's because the sales are going to be quite low because they're all fighting each other at the same time. You're right, like about that December January period, we're eating good, so maybe just maybe do the same, just hold off. I'm not going to pick that up at launch, I don't think.
Oh no, there's no point. I mean, I think it's just
Unless
just the
Remedy
wrong
want to
period of
send me a copy. There
You
you
know,
go.
Sam,
Big Remedy.
I love coffee, mate. Do you want to send me Kid Roll, pal?
Exactly. I know. I sometimes think that's what PRs think when reaching out. It's like, oh, these junky bastards. But yeah, alas, that's kind of wrapped up the main topic. We're not quite there at the end of the show yet. It's got just a little bit to go because we've got the Pixel Pix replay to check in on. For those unaware, it's a video game book club. We're inviting you all to join us as we replay the top 100 games from the Pixel Pix list. Now, each month, we're going to bring you one game. We select it at random, which we'll be doing on this show. And we're going to reconvene at the end of this month, also on this show, just for a wee look back on it. Now, well, the aim is to rediscover or find out for the first time what made the game special, Scott. So, June's game was Pixel Pix replay. It was Tetris Effect.
Indeed.
Scott, how did you find returning to that bad boy?
Well, I didn't return to it. This was my first ever experience of Tetris Effect. And let me tell you, Liam, I didn't like it. I thought it was fucking pish. It's just irritating the ever-living fucking arse out me. I hated all the fucking doodaloo and all that pish, and literally the fact that I couldn't see what I was doing. It didn't feel as nice as a Tetris does. Like I put a lot of Tetris 99 in my days, Liam, and that game feels good as the day that I started playing it. But this just doesn't feel. It's distracting me too much. There's too much shit happening on screen that just hurts my eyes, and I just can't get on board with it. So I played it for a while and suffered through it. I was like, oh, fuck, god damn this guy, fucking making me play this fucking shit. It's Tetris, you know. The only reason it's here is because it's Tetris. The effect part of it, fuck that. I mean, I'd be happy for this just to have been Tetris, and I'd have had a fucking even better time. But I'm interested to hear what you think about it because you're obviously high on this game. So,
oh yeah, I mean, listen, Tetris is my favourite game of all time, so I'm a little bit biased. But is it as good as like the OG Tetris? No, of course not. Like the OG is still going to any form of classic Tetris will take it over. But there is a classic version in there. You can play Tetris Classic and Tetris Effect. But I've always enjoyed it, and it was a game that I wasn't quick to purchase when it came out. I think I might have waited about a year or so to get it because the reviews were like this, like transformative experience. I'm like, well, I might go check it out, but I didn't quite have that effect on me, pun intended. But what it did do was it relaxed me. It does something to my brain, which is usually like a bunch of dogs, you know, scattering about in a park chasing many tennis balls. That's what it's like to be inside my head. And for this, it focuses me. And all those effects and all the rest of it is just enough distraction to relax me, which is what this game is for me. It's something that I've always put on, and it's always there on the PlayStation if I need it, just to kind of zone out. And I have my favourite tracks. And what I like about it, and always have appreciated, is you go out in the journey mode and you can just pick your own modes, and there's lots of different, you know, trials and challenges.
yeah,
I usually just do a marathon myself and just pick the backdrops that I'm in the mood for. And it's a game that's, you know, it's quite rare in the sense that it's there to kind of match your mood. It's there to just relax you and just have some fun, you know, and you can make it as difficult or as easy as you want to. And it's dangerously addictive, you know, and it put me down the path this month. I've spent a long time with it this month. It's something I've been constantly going back to. But then I spiraled out into playing, you know, Luminous Arise and also Balatro again, just kind of those type of games that just kind of focus me and just kind of keep me centered. I know it is brutal. We're nearly there, but it did make me like Luminous Arise for example, going to that after playing Tetris Effect, it's just like I just so much prefer Tetris over Luminous, you know, and it's just because it's so much easier and I can get engrossed in it.
Yeah.
And I'll always, you know, I think that's what makes the game special for me, is the fact that when people were talking about it, but you know, some people were saying, I was in tears playing it. I wouldn't go that far. It's more just like, it's it's not going to be like a big emotional experience. What it is going to do is be a sensory focusing experience, in the sense that if you're someone like me who has multiple things jump about their head all the time, this is something I would thoroughly recommend. But that being said, also listen to what Scott's feedback was on it as well, because it can be quite distracting, and it can be just like, I just want to play the standard, you know, multicolours, grey background Tetris.
I think that's it. I miss the music. For honestly, I think this is just a me problem, because over time, I used to be able to watch like old WWE and see the Titantrons when they come in and fucking all the lights flashing and stuff. I could deal with it. Literally sitting watching that thing fucking blasting at my face without even thinking about it. See, now it's almost like pure, oh fucking hell, like busting my ass, because I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, why am I struggling to look at this now? And that's what I kind of felt like. It was just almost a bit too much. I couldn't focus enough on the screen. I wanted to see what was happening in the background. Like, I just wanted to focus on other things that weren't blocks, which goes against the fucking spirit of Tetris. So it was a tough sell, but you know, it's still fucking decent. Like, I think that if you're a Tetris fan, then this should be one that, if you've not already tried, you should try. Just be aware of, you know, playing it 5 feet away from your fucking telly.
I mean, I've been playing it on this on this monitor, an OLED monitor, bit of a flex. But it pops. It's an OLED game. Like, if you've got any type of OLED TV, anything like that monitor, Tetris Effect is a great way to show it off, because it loves a pixel. And I'm still just playing the PS4 version. I've not upgraded to the PS5 version.
I was the same.
But I did kind of think, was it not on PS Plus? I don't think, but I'm not sure.
I think that's why I have it.
Right. Okay.
I was like, do I own this? Pure frustrated. Like, gutted that I didn't have it, but then it was on the PlayStation Plus, I'm sure.
It's always going to be a game that I'll have in some type of, you know, subconscious rotation, you know, because it's Tetris at the end of the day. So,
given the spirit of this show, you know, it's like, if we're talking about games that you can just pop in, pop out again.
Yeah.
Perfect for that.
But yeah, that was Tetris Effect. But as we mentioned, it's the start of a new month, and so we've entered what's remaining from our top 100 games of all time, the Pixel Picks list, and we'll get to announcing what it is just now. Scott, I'm going to spin the wheel, as I like to do here. So, for July 2026, the wheel's spinning.
Bear in mind, listeners, I might not be here for this one, so what I'll do is I'll commit to my own comments on this. I will play it.
Okay. So the wheel is spinning here just now. I thought it was. It's not. Scott's going to commit to it. You've heard it here first. But the pick for July 2026 is Burnout 3. There we have it. Burnout 3 is the game for July 2026. So, yeah, I'm going to go find alleged ways to get my hands on Burnout 3.
What's the best version of Burnout 3?
Oh, I'm not really too sure, man.
What's the best version of Burnout 3?
Whilst he's finding that out, like we says, we'll invite you all to play it this month and join us at the start of next month, where we're going to discuss in detail. We want your thoughts, so again, it's over on Patreon. Email us as well, or leave a comment on YouTube and Spotify. I will also make sure that we do have, each month we have the links to where to purchase the game if you wanted to do it through the proper channels. There are other ways to do it, allegedly, like we said. Make of that what you will. But yeah, Burnout 3 is the game for the month. There's part of me that's like, was that not on Game Pass or something?
No, it's not. I was just Googling it there to see if it was on that.
We'll find it. We'll put it under your noses.
I think if you've got an OG Xbox or an OG PS2, you can buy it. Go to your local fucking CEX and you can get it there. If you have, if you have the means, otherwise, the best version is the Xbox version, apparently. So, I'll have a look and see where you can get that from.
Get hunting and, potential alleged emulation. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm actually been kind of looking forward to an older game that's been popping up. I think we've had like a couple of old ones on that now. We've had the Burnout, Bayonetta, and Tetris Effect, but Burnout's definitely the most retro out of all of them. It's disgusting saying that out loud. But yeah, Burnout 3. Let's get cracking. Let's get cracking on that. But Scott, for the last time, for God knows how long,
Goodbye,
it does bring us.
goodbye, good friends, goodbye. 'Cause now it's time to go.
It does bring us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. Remember, go support small independent games media out there. If you like what you hear, you enjoy the podcast, just share on social media, tell your pals about us, or leave a wee 5-star review. All helps out. It makes a huge difference. And please, if you can, go join our free Patreon community at patreon.com/Pixel Parents to support the show, or subscribe to us on YouTube. Scott, for the last time in a wee while, it's test time. So where can people find you if they want to hear about your escapades not sleeping online?
Not sleeping online. I am available at lamaman.bsky.social. If I haven't become pure sweat, by that point, I'll be there telling you about fucking Parenthood,
Spitting bars, spitting
bars
facts.
about fucking shitty nappies.
Jesus Christ. You can get me on at carmelite.bsky.social. I want to give a thank you to a producer and music man, very talented and handsome, Mr. Sean Murray. So go show him some love. Check out his work on Instagram at barehandsdesigns and barehandsdesigns.com. You can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms and follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. Even leave a comment below. We will be back next week with a guest that everybody will be delighted to see on the show. You may be familiar with them, and it's not going to disappoint.
What?
Yeah, we're back. I know, because Scott, he's away, but
I'm going to be our mug punter. I'm going to leave hateful comments on them.
This podcast is shit. You know what I mean? You're going to have what do you call it, doppelganger accounts, just like these people. Where's Scott? Why isn't the show just Scott Curry?
Scott Curry's biggest fan, number one.
Indeed, man.
But yeah, sweaty. I'm actually becoming fucking. What is his name?
The Senator from X-Men.
The Senator from X-Men. That was last week's joke. What was his name? Making a Murderer. What was that guy's name?
Oh, for God's sake. Stephen Avery.
The room was full of sweat.
Indeed. Well, Scott, we wish you all the best. I'm not saying goodbye. I'll still be in touch with you. But everybody else, please, we'll let you know how things go. Let's wish them the best of luck and welcoming baby number 2 into the world. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
And remember, piss, as always, is stored in the balls.